Here we have a paper time machine. This is a 1910 Spalding official baseball guidebook. I've always wanted one of these, and I finally got one. This cost me around $50 on eBay. That's a good deal. It's not in the best condition, but condition doesn't bug me. I like the historic facts and the old-timey photos. When I describe old-timey baseball, that's my definition of old-timey baseball is 1920 and earlier. Now, what's really cool, I'm going to do a few videos on this book. There's just simply too much information to stick into one video. But Spalding, these old-timey ads, Spalding trademark is the foundation of the Spalding business. All the trademarks are the foundation blocks. I love it. Talks about rule changes, and the writing is quite amazing. There's a bunch of these writers, editors of Spalding's Athletic Library, various athletic books, college athletics, athletic guide, primer, push ball, curling, lawn ball, lawn games, children games. It's everything. This is just, I'll do a few videos about this book. It's a little bit smaller than I thought, actually. I've never had one or seen one in person. I thought it'd be like a bit bigger, maybe like 8 by 6, but no, it's like, I'd say like 5.5 by 3 or 4. So it talks about being a spectator in baseball in 1910, and it talks about how 1910 is the new game, the new era, and how it talks about there's few people around at this point that that watch baseball in the 70s, meaning 1870s, talking about spectators and how the game has changed from 1870 to 1910. 1870s pushing it for my imagination of baseball. I imagine a lot of handlebar mustaches. It's getting dark out, but I thought it'd be cool. There's crickets in the background and fire trucks. There's some interesting things in this book. Honus Wagner, Ty Cobb's in here, of course. There's some great National League information. Now, this is when the American League and the National League were separate leagues. So I have to set my mind to This is 1910, so this covers 1909. I have to put the scope of baseball to 1909. And the cool thing is my old-timey T206 cards are from 1909, 1910, 1911. So those players I can find in this book, which gives it another element, another layer of interest and historic intrigue. Now, one thing I want to take note of is this: these borders and these designs. You're seeing, start graphic design. Now, one thing that's, see these graphic designs. This is around the time of Art Nouveau. Art Nouveau celebrated human and nature and human form. It's not Art Deco yet, but these are, these early graphic designs. Now, one thing that was shocking to me was some of these have a swastika. Look at this. Now, the swastika is an ancient symbol that goes back thousands of years, Buddhism and Hinduism and Jainism. It's a symbol of good luck. And before the rise of Nazism, it was considered a symbol of good luck. Look at this. This is a group of New York Americans, 1909, the swastika. And I've seen it in a few other pages. But it's not Nazism. It was a symbol of good luck back then. Hitler took it over and hijacked it. Before that, when I lived in China, many Buddhist temples had a swastika everywhere. And at first I was shocked. Then I did my research and learned the history that it's an ancient symbol. Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. So it was used as a symbol of good luck in this book. So that's a little interesting side note of the design in this book. It's getting darker. I don't want to. My phone loses focus. The phone camera loses focus when it gets too dark. So I'm going to do this tomorrow morning. I'll get up nice and early and feature this book. because there's a lot of information, and I'll just read the the subtitles of these pages of the photos. If you like baseball gloves, if you collect like me old-timey baseball gloves, I collect baseball gloves 1920 and earlier. The earlier the better. My earliest gloves probably, my best guess, it would be 1898. It's a juvenile size baseman's mitt. Anyhow, if you're a fan of old-time baseball gloves, a collector, historian, archaeologist, whatever, tune back in when I look through this book in the daylight, because there is some photos which kind of confirm a few things for me, such as when I buy old gloves, a lot of them are smaller sizes, and I'm always assuming they're juvenile or young adult. But in some of these photos, they're adults wearing tight-fitting gloves that would, it would be like a 9-inch or maybe an 8.5 inch from wrist to top tip of your finger, which I was assuming was a juvenile or young adult, but now I'm seeing adults wear these gloves. They're tight fitting and they look more like an actual cold weather glove. So it's quite interesting. Then I also see some gloves with webbing. So that's another interesting side note. There's a lot of information that I'm also discovering in this book. So if you want to discover more with me, tune back in. And as always, thanks for checking in.